At the very bottom of Africa, a long spine of mountains runs out into the cold sea and ends in a wall of rock against the waves. This is the Cape of Good Hope, one of the most famous and most feared headlands in the history of seafaring, the turning point on the long road between Europe and the East. It sits at the tip of the Cape Peninsula, a narrow finger of mountains pointing south from Cape Town for some 50 kilometres. On one side lies the open Atlantic, on the other the broad sweep of False Bay, and a single spectacular road threads its way down between them. The most famous stretch is Chapman's Peak Drive, blasted out of the near vertical cliff face between 1915 and 1922. For more than 100 bends, it clings to the rock, hundreds of feet above the surf, with the mountain on one shoulder and nothing but air and ocean on the other. There are few coastal roads anywhere on Earth to match it. Every corner opens a new view of Hout Bay below, of the sentinel standing guard over the water, of the long Atlantic swells rolling in from thousands of miles away to break against the foot of the cliffs. And then, tucked among the granite boulders of a sheltered cove, comes a surprise. Penguins, a whole colony of them, waddling across a white sand beach in the African sunshine, a sight that seems to belong on some Antarctic shore, not here. These are African penguins, the only penguins that breed anywhere on the continent. They first came ashore at Boulders in the early 1980s, and a few breeding pairs have grown into thousands. They are also endangered, and colonies like this one are now among their last strongholds. The first European to round this cape was the Portuguese captain Bartolomeu Dias in 1488. Battered by the gales that howl around the point, he is said to have named it the Cape of Storms. It was his king, back in Lisbon, who renamed it for the hope it offered, a sea route at last to the riches of India. And so it became the Cape of Good Hope. For the next 3 centuries, almost every ship sailing between Europe and the East had to round this one piece of rock, and many of them never made it. The seabed here is a graveyard of wrecks. Standing on the cliffs today, it is easy to see why sailors dreaded it. The wind never seems to stop. The rock falls away in great grey buttresses, and far below, the swells explode white against the boulders with a sound you feel in your chest. Sailors have long said that this is where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. Geographers put that line a little further east, at Cape Agulhas. But standing out here, on the last rocks of the peninsula, with the sea on three sides, the old legend is an easy one to believe. The land itself is just as remarkable. These windswept slopes belong to the Cape Floral Kingdom, the smallest and richest plant kingdom on the planet. The low, tough scrub you see is fynbos, holding more species in this one small corner than many entire countries. This is, quite simply, the edge of a continent. Behind you lies the whole of Africa, stretching 8,000 kilometers north to the Mediterranean. Ahead lies nothing but cold, open ocean, all the way to the ice. The road home runs back up the other coast, along the shore of False Bay, through little seaside towns and past long, empty beaches, with the mountains of the peninsula glowing in the afternoon light. Few places carry their history so plainly. Every ship of the great age of sail, every hope and every wreck had to pass this single point of stone. To stand here is to stand at one of the true crossroads of the world. That is the Cape of Good Hope, the wild and storied tip of Africa. If you want to keep wandering places like this, follow along and let us keep exploring the world together.